by when I fuck.
Guy when you're looting. Guy when you're looting.
No, by Kena Dunleo. You know, Kena Dula, Piamba, and we'll do it by Dola. Do Pichin Bang Tunduma Dola, Kidal, Kurankin Dola, Piaki, Winkin Makwe, Pakokin Dola, Yamakwe, I would jadu poop and you know by Kena Dunleo. You know, Kena Dula, Piamba, and we'll do it by Dola. Do Pichin Bang Tunduma Dola. Kena Dunleo. You know, Papa Kena Dollar, Piamba, and we'll toy a bang dollar. Do Pichin Bang Tunduma Dollar, Kidal, Kurankin Dollar, the Alcuan Kimakwe, Pakokin Dollar, the Pichin Bang Tunduma Dollar, Kidal, Kurankin Dollar, the Alcuan Kimakwe, Pakokin Dollar, the Pichin Bang Tunduma Dollar, Kidal, Kurankin Dollar, the Alcuan Kimakwe.
Welcome to Lagos State Media, our supporters and followers in Facebook, YouTube, and Clubhouse. Welcome to Lagos State Media. My name is Abraham Madit Majak. Today I'm doing my show. It's been a while. I'm not hosting a show at Lagos State Media, but today we are coming up. I'm doing a show today. This show will be concerned about our currently affair in our country in South Sudan. As we know that there's a lot of breaking news going on in South Sudan, we need to cover those. So what I will do is to play some of the video about what's going on in our country. As we all know that the election has been postponed to another 2 years. Until 2026. What do you guys think? Today we will be talk about that. We will be analyzing and then show you guys a video. Before that, before we go to our topic, I just want to send out my condolences to family and friend, our sister who passed away last week. This is a sad event for the Junubin, to South Sudan, to the family. On behalf of Lagos State Media and my own behalf, I will send my heartfelt condolences to the family of our sister, our general, our warriors, Linda Garan, General Kola. She passed on. She is one of the diehard of SPLM. And this is, I'm just sending this message out to the to SPLM party. General Kola, she has been fighting. I know General Kola in social media. I have never met with her in personally, but I met her online in Clubhouse. We have been fighting with the opposition support in social media to defend the government, to defend the SPLM party. She is a really icon. She's a general. She's a really a warrior that fighting for the good fight. It's real sad. It's a lot for the country. It is a lot for the friend. It is a lot for the SPLM. I'm just call out General Salva Kiir to acknowledge her, to put her name to the list of SPLM well-organized people that who has been sacrificed their life in our country. And also I'm calling out to President Salva Kiir to support her family, her kid that she left behind. And for that we put a little bit video. Legacy Media put a little video to honor her. So I will play this video, and this is the video that we make it a little bit so that we can show and send our heartfelt condolences to the family. It is a really tragedy. Let me play this and let you guys it's really hard. It is sad. So rest in peace, General Kola. We will miss you. And the next, another condolences going out to family of President Salva Kiir. As we learned today that President Salva Kiir, he had lost his sister. This is another sad news. On behalf of Legacy Media, we send our heart condolences to the family of President Salva Kiir. This is a sad day, sad week to the country, to the Sudan, to the people. So on behalf of Legacy Media, we are sending out our heartfelt condolences to the family, to the president family. It is another thing. So she is, her name is, that's the eldest sister of President Salva Kiir. Her name is Anok Miyadit. She passed away on Thursday. She is a very great grandmother, as I can call, but she contributed a lot during the Haraka time. She the one who brought up, take care of President during his young age. So on behalf of our Legacy Media family, we will send out our condolences to the family of President Salva Kiir. May her soul rest in peace. Our heart and prayers are with the President family. For that, let us move on to our next agenda. Is we have a crisis in Lake State, flooding. So Rumbek is flooding. What caused the flooding is a man-made flooding. People has been displaced. Many people has lost their property, their livestock. People are now thousands have been displaced from their home. This is a really shocking time to see that the Lake State experience disasters. So we have received a lot of report, videos, pictures, and what caused this flooding. The place that never been flooded before is flooding. It's a man-made. And the things we are calling out Lake State Governor General Magur and also the central government government Jerusalem community to help these civilians that who are suffering from disaster. So their thousands have been displaced. Their crop has been destroyed. Their home has been destroyed, and they are now living outside, nowhere, no food, no shelter. This is a very hard time for these people in Rumbek East. So we are sending out for that. Lake State Media will be hosting a show sometime, maybe this week or next week, and then we will be raising awareness. And if I'm called out for the Lake State people, community in diaspora, to make sure to tell people in Rumbek East that who are suffering from this flooding. And for that, let me play the video. One of our journalists has Thomas Macro went on the floor, on the ground, and report the event going on. So watch the video, please.
Tok. Ogarer pat wajarer pat benali boja konye kun biye wo wala ngo kuchu.
Ora bo buut ka diej buka yuit. Ba mit ke ja kwer be. Bakarat. Mazaba di chin piu. Ku dong ka ngut. Buut ka lok taji. Yiga le miet chen. Wane ting jo. Te dan ka diej ato wari. Raba chi mo. Rep chen ka chawoy. Ya chi purial a chi mo. Topi nya chi mo. Ajib da china jiang to gen to da to ina liuman anong to ka da tem kwa chi lo ka bo ko jen kwe dan chi gelati
ina kuma na real wo mo ani ma jamar ku gut ko kopen wo ga ta chin chin won tup ko ya kuma bi wo mo ani ka cham kuma ku wo wala kim je me ji pen bo re chin de na kim yok se kuma ku wo malenki wo ko rukum kuma ku ma cham
ko rai ba chin le jeran chol wan ndied woten atura jalten la barnam jaltona do la barnam e atyar ku dongan ke matura na bo bor ka jalbala chira na jo bene u kidi bolakin ki jama tura tore an kirai tong pana kor bilten e gol malo ben mata gaten e ba bor ka ngwan ut dongan ut datem ni kirai ten amed tinabanen ki kirai ten ban kalif ka datem ubat ka dongan sertem kelan ki o ko yikir kulan o ko je panda abibo la bijala le kir tu pa ki o gorel we.
Yes, so as you guys can see, it is home are under the water. Everybody you have hear it. So on behalf, we are calling out for the government to help these people. So these people need shelter, need food. So this is the time that help these people. We are calling that, and also we are calling the citizen of Lake State in diaspora to help out. We will organize the show to do a fundraising for this event to help these innocent people who are suffering from this flooding. For that, let us go back to our topic. Now, yeah, as you know that the government Adigono has extended the election for another 2 years. This is what 3-time extension. I personally, I don't support extension. So this extension means that the government have extended the suffering of the people of South Sudan. That's what they did. Okay. So I'm against this. The election supposed to be held on December 2024. But now they come out and they said that we extended another 2 years. So how? So you will rule the country by extension? So what happened? What went on? I have video to show. So during the election campaign last year, the SPLM party went out overwhelmingly to do a campaign, said that we are going for election for 2024. So what happened? What changed? Well, let's hear from their own mouths, from those SPLM leadership. So let us watch their video from the start when they're campaigning regarding by election of 2024. And what happened now? Why the extension? Why they change their mind? After all, they do this rally in Barkazal, this rally in Equatorial region. Okay, spend money on this rally. Now they come up and say, "Oh, we don't have money. We are extending the election for another 2 years." Okay, let's listen to their own word. That's not medic word, not Lake State media word. Their own word. Please watch the video and be the judge. Okay.
Thank you very much, members of the media houses. We in the SPLM National Secretariat this afternoon, we want to put it crystal clear that we have got this morning a media message circulating that the chairman of the SPLM, His Excellency Comrade Salva Kiir Mayardit, they have struck a deal with the first Vice President, Dr. Riek Machar, to postpone the election. And this is the rumor circulating the social media this morning, and this is confusing the public. The SPLM, we are here to categorically denounce that rumor, to say His Excellency Comrade Salva Kiir Mayardit has not discussed any or struck any deal.
Okay. Let me play a little bit more, so and then I will.
With the first Vice President regarding the postponement of the elections. The election will be in December 2024 without fail, and that is the date which has been scheduled for this election. And
okay, let me pause that for a second. Okay, you hear from SPLM Secretariat. Okay, couple months ago or a few months ago, there was a leak go out, said that the IO and IG, they struck the deal. Okay, they struck the deal that the election would be postponed. And then that document, we see it, and then all it was trending in social media, in all news outlet on the ground. And then that's where the Secretariat themselves, they come out and this is now and that they call it propaganda. The election is still on the place. So now, that letter was leaked out a few months ago that the election was postponed. It became true right now. It became true that the SPLM was lying by that document went out in public was propaganda. It wasn't propaganda. It's come true now. Listen to more to them.
The SPLM, we are members to the peace agreement. And with our partners together, if there is anything to do with the passing information about the election, it will be done jointly with all the peace partners. It will not be done single-handedly, or it will not be done behind the doors. Therefore, we are here to denounce this propaganda, and we are saying it is null and void because it's not legitimate. We have also read the same paper. The person who wrote this, we don't know the person, and we don't want the public to be misled by certain informations. We are putting it clear that we are implementing peace in a spirit that is not going to jeopardize what is put in the peace agreement. Therefore, we can never stop going for election in December. Going for election in December will be one of the violations that we can do, because the peace agreement is clear that at the end of the transitional period, we must go for elections. And these elections are scheduled for December 2024. And by now, you've seen everything to do for election is done. You can see already the Electoral Commission is already constituted. You have also seen that the Political Parties Council has also been constituted. You have also been that we have also unified the army. You have seen we have graduated them and we have started deployment of them. So what's remaining now? There is nothing. We are going for election and nobody should continue to confuse the public. Election is a popular demand of the South Sudanese people because they need to elect their leaders, and that's what they need. And anybody who talks about election, this is exactly what we, the SPLM, as a partner to the peace agreement, is also talking about, that we must go for election. And this is what is clearly put in the RXS, so that we are committed for this election in 2024, December this year. Thank you very much.
Any question?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is David Esbon and I work for Classic. We all know that are not done.
Of the transitional period, we need to have election conducted so that the South Sudanese people can elect their leaders to office. And of course, you know, we are talking about the second transition. We already had the transition before, where we were supposed to have election. We extended it. At this time now, we are coming to the end of the transitional period. And it is said clearly that before the end of the transitional period, we need to have election conducted. Therefore, some of the partners to the agreement, they have already agreed on the issue of going forward for election. Apart from one, of course, the dialogue which was mentioned by His Excellency the President is there, but I cannot be able right now to talk about it because we already have people or the committee, high-level committee, which is headed by Honorable Tutkil, who is in charge of that, and they will be in a position to officially say more about the dialogue. But as a partner to the peace, we are here only to make sure that we give clarity about what's going on, and people should not come and...
Those who say South Sudan is not ready for elections, I don't know what...
Okay, now you hear from Secretariat. Okay, they say that if you are not doing election, they will buy. That's a violation. Now they buy it. Okay, they extend the election for another 2 years until 2026. Now listen to Honorable Michael McCullough.
What is the criteria which you are using? What is their mechanism for evaluating as to whether people are ready for elections or not? For us, we say we are ready for elections, and the elections will be run. There are those who believe that we are not going for elections unless all the provisions of the agreement are implemented. That is rubbish. Even the provisions of the CPA up to now are not all implemented. CPA El Jablena independence there. Some provisions are still outstanding. Some of them like what? Like the Border Commission. Like the 3 areas. Like the Jibala Nuba and Angasana Blue Nile. This is part of the CPA. The unified forces, when they were set up to the time of independence and we became independent, they were never unified.
So let us hear the update from General Lul Roy from
Welcome.
Adam Mate
Morning,
Gelado.
everyone. We are here with Gerald Ulwai, SSPDF spokesperson. So we are just asking about the incident happened yesterday in Bilfam or which place? Gerald, you tell us what happened.
Thank you, Lake State Media, for reaching out to me. Yesterday, on the 19th of September 2024, there was an incident at a place at a village called Malabor, that is part of Lado Payam of Buba County, Central Equatorial State. Basically, it was an incident that was involving two forces from SSPDF that were assigned to perform different tasks. In the last 3 months or 2 months, different suburbs of Juba witnessed rampant land grabbing, and to put a stop to that, the SSPDF command formed a force branded as anti-land grabbing force. They were stationed in the area with sole responsibility of stopping further grabbing of land. Then a second force was formed, and they were given the responsibility of demolishing the structures that were illegally built on grab land. In the evening, the two forces were instructed to carry out demolition exercise, and it was in the process that the exercise was being carried out that the two forces clashed, and as a result, one SSPDF soldier from the force that were going to carry out the demolition was shot and wounded, and the fighting forces were separated by a neutral force. There was a force sent from presidential guards to separate them. In response, the commanding officers of the force that fought among themselves were summoned to Bilpam for further questioning and explanation on how they had lost command and control, which resulted in the clashes. That was basically what had happened. So it had nothing to do with any other dimensions. It was purely misunderstanding that is being attributed to lack of proper coordination, planning, organization, and execution.
Thank you so much, General. So, children were scaring about the sound of the gun, a lot of sounds. What will your message to the children who are staying in the area? When you tell them something, they go, just learn more, it's just okay. So, can you just tell us?
No, it was an incident that was about land grabbing, and it was about individuals, armed individuals that were resisting the eviction and demolition of the structure that they had erected on the land they had grabbed. So it had no connection with the general security situation. Civilians were not the primary target or any other institutions. It was purely a fight between law enforcement officers and land grabbers. So they should not be worried.
Well, thank you so much, General.
Thank you.
Okay, so there you have it. One of our journalists on the ground interview General Roy Kong. So regarding about the land issues in Jabalado. I hope this situation will be solved. Now let's go back to our topic regarding about the suspension of postponement of the election to 2026. Now you hear, let us listen in to the reaction from the General Secretary of SPLM, Honorable Peter Lambos.
The extended presidency met. Good morning to you, members of the press. We call you this morning to explain to you some of the political developments that have been taking place in the last couple of months. On August 13, the extended presidency met. Extended presidency means the presidency and the parties signatory to the revitalized agreement. And the discussion on August 13 focused on two issues. One was the end of the roadmap and the upcoming elections. The second was the Tomeni consensus. But I want to focus on the end of the roadmap. We, as parties to the agreement, presented our positions to to the presidency on the elections. The SPLM presented that elections must take place on December 22nd, 2024. Other parties agreed with SPLM, and that is the Democratic Change Party, the National Agenda, the FDs, and the OPP were for the elections. Some members of SWA also were for elections. Some members of SWA were not. The IO said that they needed extension of the agreement, citing some of the articles in the agreement which were not implemented. Because there was no consensus, the presidency requested the parties again to go back and consult with the institutions concerned with elections and the mechanisms for peace implementation. And so we went back and conducted a number of meetings. On August 22nd, the high-level committee and the parties to the agreement met with these institutions, including the National Constitution Review Commission, the National Bureau of Statistics, the JDB, that is the Joint Defense Board, the JMCC, the National Constitution Amendment Committee, the Political Parties Council, the National Elections Commission. And they were asked to prepare the following. One, they were asked to report what is it that they have done, what is it that they are currently doing, and what is it they are planning, and how long will it take them to complete their work, and what are their challenges. So each of these institutions brought back reports to the high-level committee and the parties. It became clear that some agencies needed 6 months to complete their work, others need 12 months, others, the longest time was 18 months by the National Constitution Review Commission. Based on that presentation, the most difficult challenge for them was lack of funding to do their work.
Okay, let us pause that for a second. Okay, now they said that some people that need 6 months, 12 months, or 18 months to complete their work. And also the lack of funding is the issues. So what for the last 2 years that you guys expanded the election until 2024 this year? So why did you guys didn't put aside the money for election anymore? Number two, what about the money that you guys were spending during the rally in Barkazal, in Equatoria? Okay, so where are these money coming from? Why there's no money right now to do election? So that is a question for you as PLM. So listen to what is the reason why the SPLIO need extension. Okay, if the SPLM go ahead with the election of 2024, there will be a chaos happening. Listen to General Secretary.
And so they said, if we are to get money today, we can start our work, and within 18 months they can finish the work. 18 months means 12 months and 1 year and 6 months. We continued on our positions that it is still possible for us to conduct our elections. One major challenge came, and the challenge was that, okay, if we all agree now to go for elections December 2024, where is the funding?
Mm-hmm.
The institutions of finance were called to come and tell us whether they have the funds necessary to conduct the election this year. The answer for them was that they don't have money for elections. As a matter of fact, they don't have money to pay the salaries of 9 months. And because of that reason, it became difficult now for us as SPLM to say to people that let us go for election when there's no money for it.
That's a good question.
That is what made the change
That's a good question.
for us to accept 18 months extension as SPLM. Some other parties, they said 18 months is still small. They needed 24 months. The IO insisted on 26 months to 30 months. And so we could not agree. But in the end, of course, an average was taken by the leadership of this country. And the average was 24 months. 18 months for mechanism to do their work, and 6 months to look for funds for the elections. 6 months starts now. We must look for money between now and February 2025 so that these mechanisms can do their work and the elections can take place December 22nd, 2026. That is what was agreed by the presidency, and that is what we accepted. Now, for us as SPLM, as Secretary General, I find it difficult even to stand here to talk about extension because we have been for elections. And for that reason, I want to say to the members of SPLM and all our leaders that the party will never let you down.
No, you did.
We will never compromise on SPLM principles. I even said in that meeting that if I have the cows to sell in order for this election to happen.
No, let me react here with the General Secretary. Yes, you guys let the SPLM member down because you guys be lying to the general public that the election will take place in 2024. You guys have been campaigning for the last few months, I can recall. Okay, and now you're telling us that you guys are not let the SPLM down. You guys let SPLM member down because if you don't tell the member the truth, when the time comes and say, okay, we are agree, we will extend the election. So you talk about the funding. So and the question here, you did put that's a thousand million question you asked here. So where will you guys will get the money for the next 2 years? Okay, for the next 2 years, where will you get the money? When the 2 years come, and then okay, oh, we don't have fund, we don't have money right now, so we extend another 2 years. And another thing here, SPLIO don't need election. So SPLIO need extension. That's what they are aiming for. And why they want extension? If the election takes place, what will be the reason? Listen to him. So the answer that I want from General Peter Lam is he will say the reason why the SPLM, if the election will take place in 2024, there will be a war. The SPLM IO said that threatening SPLM IG. The SPLM threatening SPLM IG. He said if you guys taking the election in 2024, we are going back to square one. And I will be playing the video from Dr. Young Machan in 2022 for the previous extension, what he said. I will be playing his video. There was 2 video here. I will be playing those videos. So listen to General Lambos himself. So what is the reason why if the election would take place in 2024, what they respond from the SPLIO? Listen to General.
I can tell them because we are fully for this election. But if there is no money, what can we do? Of course, if we get money even today, we can go for elections. We know that the IO is ready to pull out and start fighting. But at least let us fight when we can do the elections. We cannot fight now, and we cannot do elections at the same time. And I don't think that our people, the people of South Sudan, when you see them on the road here, I don't think that any one of them is interested in fighting again. And so for that reason, we say let us accept the consensus, which was 24 months, and let us double our efforts to look for funds to support the elections.
Aywa. Now the truth come out. The problem, the reason why they extended the election to another 2 years is not because of fun. It's not because of fun. The reason why they extended the election to another 2 years is because the SPLM-IO threatening them that if the election will take place in 2024, December this year, there will be a fight. This is the reason. That's the answer here. This is not fun. Money are there. There's a money. There's a money in South Sudan. They have money. Okay? There's a money that they can hold the election. But the answer, the reason why they extended the election to another 2 years is because that's where IO don't want election. If they are going for election, that's where IO can go back to the to square one, which is war. Okay, that's the reason here. Okay, so listen to him.
The fault, the party does not fund elections. SPLM cannot fund general elections for South Sudan. It is the government that finds money to fund elections. And so if there are people who think that it is SPLM that has compromised, we have not compromised. It is the issue that the government does not have the funds to run the elections.
Okay, General Peter Lambos. So if the government is funding the election, not the SPLM, right? So in the first place, why does SPLM go out in public and do campaigning of election? Why you guys went out with a campaign that there's election take place 2024? Why the other party, they are not doing campaign? Okay. So that question, we need answer from you guys. We need these answers from the SPLM party. Okay. Why is it you guys were doing the rally, campaigning so hard for the last year to this year that there's an election, and suddenly now you extended the election to another 2 years, and you said there's a lack of money. No, it's not a lack of money. South Sudan have money. You guys have money. Okay. So
if the government doesn't have the funds to run the elections, what is it that SPLM can do single-handedly to run the elections? So I call on our members to support the decision of the leadership that we must extend for 24 months, after which time we will go for the elections. I thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll be calling for a press conference. This is just briefing. We'll be calling for press conference where we can take your
questions of credibility. If we say now, let's go for elections, and we cannot conduct elections within Juba here because of lack of funding. Elections means you have to have funds to register people. You have to have funds to go from one place to the other. If that is not there, then it will not be credible elections. And for that reason, we are calling on our people that peace is better than war. Because if we go now fight IO, what benefit does it give to anybody? So I don't think that it is correct. But let us give our people a chance to live in peace and to go for an election that will be well-funded, that will be credible, that will be transparent, that will be believable by all our people and the international community.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else?
Anybody?
Yes, my name is James. You talk of
institution, please.
You said one of the biggest challenges is the issue of funding. And you resolve to mobilize for funds starting from now until February. What is the estimated amount people are looking for?
Well, I think the mechanisms gave their estimates, and the Elections Commission, they have given their estimates. The amount that is stated, I think, is too high. People have to sit down again and see what is feasible. But what they have presented was too much as far as I'm concerned. They presented 800 million for all the mechanisms to do their work and for the elections to take place. But I think it is too high. We can always, you don't make an argument when you don't have money in your hand. Somebody can just say anything when you would say, but the real amount will have to be negotiated by all the parties at some point.
Last.
Yeah. My name is Mr. FG, may you outline what are the current status of the endorsement program of the SPLM?
No, the endorsement, we have remained with Upper Nile. And after the rainy season, we will have the endorsement from the Salva there.
Okay.
the extent.
Okay, so you see, they still talk about endorsement. So I thought the endorsement you guys did was for this 2024 election. So 2026 is a different endorsement. Okay, the endorsement that you guys did in Baragazal and Equatoria is in election for 2024. So you guys are extended to another 2 years. So new endorsement will come for another 2026. Anyway, so you guys you hear from General Secretary of SPLM, Honorable Peter Lambo. So you hear from him. So because what I'm taking out from his talk is it's not about funding. The reason why this election was extended is not about funding. It's come clear that the reason why they're extending this election is because the SPLM-IO is threatening them if they are taking election this month or the upcoming 3 months from now in December this year, they will go back to war. And that's why the reason why the SPLM-IG give in, say, okay, let us extend it for another 2 years. And then after 2 years end it, and then they will go another 2 years. So let's hear from the Western country. Western world, let's listen to them. So their reaction, they are so disappointed. Listen to Ambassador from United States
of South.
Let us listen to Ambassador Michael, United States Ambassador. So listen to him. And they listen to what he say, how they were having a RGM MAC meeting 2 days ago on the 18th. Listen how they are disappointed to the government, why they extended the election for another 2 years.
Sudan's leaders to create the announcement of another extension of the transitional period marks the failure of South Sudan's leaders to create the conditions necessary to hold genuine, peaceful, and inclusive elections. We are deeply disappointed by this failure because peace is our priority, and we are convinced that the best way to secure peace in South Sudan is by creating the conditions to hold such elections. Despite significant international support, including identification of 10 key issues for decision related to elections by the UN, the African Union, and IGAD, South Sudan's political leaders have collectively failed to create the conditions necessary for such elections to take place. They have failed to make adequate public revenue available for electoral institutions, for security and civil service salaries, for basic services, or to mitigate the impact of humanitarian crisis. Our question then must be, what is the priority of South Sudan's leaders? We renew our call on them to demonstrate that their priority is their country and their people's well-being. They have thus far repeatedly failed to do so. For while we recognize elections cannot be held this year because of leadership failures, we cannot in good conscience endorse this extension because we are not prepared to endorse a status quo that prioritizes the privileges of the elite over the welfare of the South Sudanese people. Hence, we will abstain today. 2 years ago, after I abstained on the last RJMEC vote to endorse an extension of the transitional government, I told South Sudanese leaders I did so because the United States did not see any basis to believe that the 2022 extension would be different from the previous extensions, in which South Sudan's leaders had also failed to prepare for elections. I said that if they acted with urgency to demonstrate the political will to make the 2022 extension different, I would welcome the opportunity to say that our analysis was wrong and that they had found the political will to take the steps necessary to deliver the better future the South Sudanese people seek and deserve. Unfortunately, in the past 2 years, we have seen nothing that would justify my saying this. It is the continued obligation of the transitional government to act with urgency to create the conditions necessary for genuine and peaceful elections, including expanded political and civic space, politically neutral and unified security forces, funded and operationalized electoral institutions, and leaders' public commitment to dialogue and rejection of violence as a tool for political competition. All South Sudanese political leaders should take advantage of every available opportunity to advance an inclusive and lasting peace, including through the Tumaini talks in Nairobi and through leadership-level dialogue in Juba. The United States' relationship with the people of South Sudan is based on values, including peace, democracy, human rights, and a government responsive to its people's needs, particularly with respect to transparent and appropriate use of public revenue. The nature of our relationship with the transitional government or any future government in South Sudan will continue to reflect its commitment to these values. We renew our call on South Sudan's leaders to demonstrate this commitment without further delay. As put by my distinguished colleague from IGAD and my distinguished colleague from the United Nations, they must act with urgency to end the perpetual cycle of continuous transition in South Sudan. Thank you, Your Excellency, Acting Chair.
There you have it. You hear from the Western countries how did they disappointed at the South Sudanese leaders. They don't support this postponement of the election for another 2 years. You see how they are, and you know, United States, if you don't like follow the rule of law, so even the funding that help the country, they will be even cutting the funding for supporting the South Sudan government. So now, before I play the video, Choldi, do you have anything to add?
Playing those video because I will speak later on. There are a lot of mistakes going on, and the good way to empower our people, especially is through legal procedures in Washington. What we are doing, especially what the government is doing now, together with parties, political parties, say SPLM and IG, there is no one legal ground, and that is why you are seeing when they are doing something, they are not quoting any article anymore, right? Because there is no legal ground in the Constitution, and there is no legal ground even in the peace agreement itself. Like, for example, Article 8.4 talk about only extension. But how do you actually get a legal procedures or legal endorsement from this tool? This is where in K1 they will come on the Saturday and quickly endorse something without even talking. Yeah. So here we are going to defeat them legally because they have to present to us where are they getting these powers. Because you can extend, like in 8.4, according to roadmap or maybe according to agreement, you can extend. But you need a distur now to go and give you an endorsement so that it will be legal. Otherwise, what you are doing is illegal, which is what is going on now in our country. This extension is illegal. There is no anywhere in the distur that will back them up and tell them that there is extension. If you go to the distur, you will find here there is election, but there is no extension of election in our constitution. Even within the electoral commissions, Act. There is nowhere where you will find the path of extension. Nowhere. So legally, play the video. We'll talk more later on.
Okay. All right. The next one is for the. Now I'm moving to SPLM IO chairman and the first vice president or Republic of South Sudan, Dr. Yang Mishar. So this video is for 2 days ago. They were having a meeting regarding about launching of strategy or plan of 2023 to 2026. So he speak here, and also the last video that I will play is about the video of 2 years ago, 2022, when Dr. Yamachar giving a speech about the extension of 2022 to 2024. That video will be the last video that I will play. Now listen to this video for a couple of days ago.
With you today to launch. I am honored to be with you today to launch this strategic plan of the ministry. I am aware of it because, as the minister said, this passed through the cluster which I shared, and also through the Council of Ministers. I am pleased that it has now come to light, and then we are celebrating its launch. Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs is a very important ministry in our structures, because it is the basis on which our legal organization is based. You are aware, every ministry, every unit in government has a legal advisor who does a lot of work to ensure that ministry is regulated and that legislations come to light before they come to the Ministry of Justice. So we attach a lot of importance to it in government. I'm happy that you have launched it before, or you have launched it now after we have made a decision in government that the transitional period be extended for another 2 years. This will give you a time to implement your strategic plans. I'm aware that you have implemented a lot of it, but you still have many to implement. So I want to call upon you to maximize the time, complete the implementation of this strategic plan within the period before we go for elections. Because most of the reforms that we are doing, whether reforms in justice administration or in the judiciary or in the other ministries, many of them, all these reforms have passed through this ministry. And the sooner you finish the aspects of your strategic plan, all other ministries would have also done that. Even if some of the ministries, because of legislation, might be a little bit behind. So I'm happy that we have launched it today. When I meet learned people like you, I always try to indulge in debate. And let me start it. This strategic plan is based on the peace agreement, the R-axis. The R-axis has many provisions that need to be implemented and even to be taken forward during the next coming government, which will be elected government. One of these important provisions is shift from the centralized government to a federal system of governance. You as lawyers will need to adjust to the new or to the coming system. Although the R-axis dictates us that we must devolve powers, resources to lower levels of government, we are still stuck when we have not moved towards this. And I believe that this ministry and all the legal fraternities should be involved in this matter. So you now have the time to look at these aspects so that when we move to the new system of governance, which is a federal system, we will be ready. We will be ready. Don't delay your participation in the process to the time when elections has come or to the time when we are discussing a federal system before the elections, or to the time when the constitution is being worked. I think it is now time for us to tackle these aspects. I could recall when the CPA was signed. At that time, there were provisions stating that the justice administration be decentralized, so that in the states, each state to have its own justice administration, and also each state to have its own judiciary. I know in our first constitution, the interim constitution for Southern Sudan, there was resistance. It was deferred that this would be done after 4 years, if you can recall that constitution. So we didn't move forward during the implementation of the CPA. Although when this provision was provided in the CPA, we were one country with the North, and we had a problem of the Sharia laws. We wanted to protect ourselves from the application of Sharia laws in Southern Sudan. And therefore, we labored hard to see that South Sudan has its own.
Okay, this video is too long. So the video that we will play later on is about 2 years ago, 2022, when Dr. Yamasha gave a speech regarding about extension of 2022 to 2024. So we will be playing that. So that video. Before we play that, I will play that on let me give a chance to the people in Clubhouse to weigh in. So what their input is. So Cholit. So go ahead and then we can give a chance to the rest of people in the Clubhouse.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Madit. First of all, let me just give my am I clear, by the way?
Yeah, you are clear, yes.
Okay. Yeah, first of all, let me just give my condolences to the family of Linda. I think we all know Linda here in Clubhouse, so my condolences to her family. She was actually one of our great advocates online here. Unfortunately, we lost her. Hopefully, God is great, and the power of mighty God, she will be in eternal life, because she was actually here spending time with us, talking on behalf of the vulnerable people. So my condolences to the family. My second condolences is to the family of Salva Kiir Mayardit, because we recently heard what happened in the family. He actually lost his elder sister, so I also give my condolences to his family. Hopefully, in God is great, she will be also in eternal life. So these are the few things I want to mention before I could dive into the topic. We all know nobody is actually friendly to death, and when death has actually captured us in life, we must always give condolences to any family. So sorry for the loss of the people that we have heard, and hopefully God is great. Now, coming to the topic, Yamadit, there has been a lot of lies, deceiving around by SPLA, SPLM, IO, and some other political parties in the government. And like we have seen, they have wasted money, they have wasted energy, they have wasted a lot of resources for the country, and at the end, they change their mind. So let me go now to where we need to beat them, because these people, they think this country could just be run randomly with personal interest. The country should be run under the law. And if you don't follow the law, then you are even violating your own desturi that you are governing the country. Before I mentioned something about legal ground, which is what we always need to do as citizens. We need to challenge these people according to our legal ground of our document. They claim that they have extended the election. So let's look at some of the documents. And the three documents that I'll be using here is the South Sudan Constitution and South Sudanese Electoral Commission Act, plus the agreement itself. In the agreement, chapter 8.4 talk about extension. You can extend, and you have to extend when you have got a vote of 230, which is what we have seen in the JMAC meetings. In the JMAC meetings, there were about 43 members. I think 29 or 34 vote in favor of extension, and the rest, including Troika, they vote against it, which is the stage that should have been done across political parties within SPLA, SPLM, and also within IG and other political parties. But they did not do that in Madrid. We have not seen SPLA, SPLM sitting down and vote that they want extension or they don't. Now, after this voting, the next step is this should be tabled. All these results should be tabled now on the parliament. Of which, if you go to our constitution, for those who may have the copy, if you go to our constitution, part 13, chapter 3, it talks about election, running for the election. And what it said there, I will not read it because there are a lot of articles. But if you go to that page, especially page 72, you will find it talk about election. And in that area, it has never talked about an extension. It talk about how the election should be done. So when you have tried to extend, you now need to go and get legality of that extension within our constitution. Also, if you go to South Sudanese Electoral Commission Act, let me get this. I'm giving you quote only, so that
absolutely. Yep.
Yes. So if you go there, it talks about. Let me give you the chapters. Hang on. Yes, it talks about if you. Hang on. Let me get the chapter and the page. 17. Hang on, give me time. Yeah, in chapter 1. Yeah, in chapter 1, part 1, and it is actually page 9. It talks about announcement of the election date. And in the announcement of the election date, which is actually number 15. Hang on, number 15, yes, it talks about announcement of the election dates. And in that, it only says, I'll just read part of it here. If you go to chapter 1, page 17, number 15, there is 1, 2, and 3. But I'm just going to read 1. It says, whenever an election is held, the commission shall announce and publish the gazettes and the printing media. So to hold the election at least 6 months before the date of the election. Number 2, upon the announcement of the date and the election of the commission, the president shall, within 3 months to the election date, shall dissolve the National Assembly, the State Legislative Assembly, and the national government and the state government. Now, hang on, I'm getting interruption here. One second.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So what I'm trying to emphasize here, first of all, if you go according to agreement, which talks about Article 8.4 about extension, you don't just extend and then you come and say, yes, extension is done. No, you need to go to the parliament. And in the parliament, you need legality of that extension. Is it legal for that extension to be approved or not? So if you go to the parliament to go and get the legality of that extension, you will go and find in the Distur, there is nowhere where that extension would be endorsed in our Distur. If you come to South Sudan Electoral Commission Act, it talks about when the date is announced, right? Like what happened before, the date has already been announced by the Electoral Commission. So what's supposed to happen was the president should have actually declared or dissolved some of the positions within the government. See, that would have been the next step according to our constitution, as well as according to our Electoral Commission Acts. You see? So instead, what happened, what these people do, especially IO and IG, what they did, instead of following the procedures of the Distur, which were actually followed by the Electoral Commission, because you have already announced the election date, they declined. They went and come up now with the different procedures, which is legally not allowed in the Distur. They went and talked about extension, and even with that extension, is not legally supporting the document of our constitution. And then they went and bribed a lot of people around to endorse the extension, which is not legally correct. So there are a lot of wrong procedures, Yamadit, that are being done by these people, breaching the whole Distur of the country and breaching some of the interests of the Electoral Commission Acts documentation. So if you look at the whole process of this extension, it is not legally allowed for them to continue doing this. And if our country was really a serious country, seriously country, right? Then the security organs or the army should have rounded up Salva Kiir Mayardit and Riek Machar and put them to jail. This is what is being done in some other developing countries. When the president is telling or the politicians themselves abuse the power, even breaching the disturi, they need to be rounded up and put to jail. You see? But because people like a Kolokor, people in charge of the military intelligence, they don't even know what are the rules. They cannot even read this documentation and explain it themselves and understand it fully. These politicians like Riek Machar and Salva Kiir can breach whatever they want, and then they fool us with money, bribing people and say we are okay. This is legally wrong, and by law, I'm not making this up. By law, Kiir and Riek need to be arrested because this extension is not legally recognized in the disturi. If you go to South Sudanese Electoral Commission Act, there's nowhere to endorse that extension. If you go to our constitution, there is nowhere to endorse. And to make it worse more, they even breach the constitution. So what do people do when someone breach the constitution? You will be arrested.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I'm calling for good citizens, either in the army, in the security sector. Go and read this tour. Go and get the copy of Electoral Commission Act, and then please, when you have legally read this and you know you are correct, arrest Kiir and Riek Machar. Arrest them all because they have legally breached our disturi, and they are going to implement this agreement according to their own interest, not according to the documentation of our country. So I don't support this extension, and simply I have a legal ground in the disturi, I have a legal ground in the agreement that does not allow Riek and Kiir to legally pursue this agreement, as they are claiming that they will now look for funding. What funding? There's no funding here. So they have breached our constitution. They legally need to be arrested, and they need to be put under the prison so that they will be questioned and be told that you guys are wrong to keep running the country illegally. So I personally is saying this is an illegal kind of move, and they should be put to jail, and they will go and answer this in court of law. You see? So, and I'm calling for those who have understood this disturi, those who have understood this Electoral Commission Act of Sudan. Because if you are going to act, you are not going to act on your own interest. You are acting on the interest of the what? Of the country. You see? So election is one of the function that need to be conducted, and it need to be conducted legally. You don't need to conduct it illegally. And if you can come up with making things up like extension, it's not okay, because you don't just want to do extension without legal ground. Look, Madida Parliament was called on Saturday. They come and do endorsement. Did they quote an article that, according to this article, they had been told in the disturi? No.
No, there's no any article.
Yeah, because they are legally wrong. And how do we allow these people now to rule the country when they are even move against the disturi? And that's why I was telling people last time that when you see us talking, don't look at us as we are the one against the government. No, it is these two that have turned against the people. Because the domination of the government is for the people and by the people. And if they are not doing the interest of the people, then they have turned against the interest of the people. And to make it worse, they have even turned against the very the same document that is used by the security and the army to protect this country, which is the disturi. There is no anywhere in the disturi where you'll get a legal ground that will support this extension. And the whole parliament is actually running illegally. And they are being bribed by Kiir and Riek to do illegal activities of the country, including endorsing the extension. So my position is that we legally need to challenge them, and I know we will defeat them, and when we will defeat them, they need to go to the court to go and answer to the public according to the rule of law that they are breaching now. That is my take, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Choldi. You are absolutely right. And as you put it, the citizens of South Sudan is a country that they are not follow the rule. Even the citizens are not well educated. They're right to follow. Choldi, today they were having a meeting like. They put it this here is what the document that I received for their agenda for today, Friday on the 20th September 2024, 9 a.m. The Friday, this morning or yesterday morning on the time is a Friday, now it's Saturday night. So the Friday morning at 9 a.m., here are the agenda that they were discussed this morning. The agenda number 1, prayers for the Holy Bible and Quran, communication from the share, actually and also to the submission. You see what you are talking about, the constitution, right? So the traditional constitution of the Republic of South Sudan, 2011, amendment number 12, Bill 2024 by the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs Justice Rabin Madol Aro on the following: A, the transition. These are the agenda that they were meeting this morning. A, the transitional constitution of the Republic of South Sudan, 2011, amendment number 12, Bill 2024. B, resolution of the presidency. C, the resolution of the National Council of Ministries. D, resolution of the political party signatures of RCs 2018. And E, a resolution of the RGMAC concerning to the extension of transitional period of RCs agreed by the parties to the agreement. And F, finally, is a report of the high-level standing committee. So these are the agenda they were discussing this morning, actually, regarding about the constitution. So and you mentioned, you see. So what do you take on that?
Well, those are wrong agendas, because some of the agendas that we expect as Junubi, if you go to the same constitution, right? And part 13 as well, it talk about a state of emergency. And what can trigger the state of emergency are things like flooding, are things like hunger. You see? So what we expect as Junubi, those who have this country at heart, is see these people sitting down discussing how should they actually help these people. Because until now, there is no any state of emergency in place for flooding and for hunger, Yamadi. A country where, as we speak now, last week was actually 10 counties under flooding. As we speak now, I think it has gone to 15 or 18.
Yeah.
And next week is going to 20 counties underwater. And there is no one coming up with any solution, even to sit down at the parliament and discuss a state of emergency. This is what we are expecting. We were thinking like this parliament should actually discuss the state of emergency, because this flooding is going to put the whole 79 counties underwater this time. There are areas that have actually faced flooding, and they have never faced flooding in their own life. You see, this is because this flooding is not normal. It's just a flooding being made intentionally by Ugandan and Sudan. You see? And what will make it worse is because Sudan is not going to allow it, right? Its country to be underwater. So they will block the dam completely. And when they will block that dam, right, completely, that water will now push back to Sudan. And Uganda is pouring water here because they don't want water to be destroying the area. So they will open the dam. Now the water are going to be opened by Uganda. Sudan is going to block the water. Where will be the center? Sudan will be the center where this water will come now and is stuck. You see, Ahmadit? Yes. So we expect these people to be talking about the state of emergency. How are they going to get funding? Or if they have funding, like now they have funding to spend on peace, then they should use those funding for the victim of flooding now and victim of hunger. This is what I was expecting. But those agendas that you have mentioned, these are agenda of people that are operating illegally. And they are not even legally supported by the Distur. Like I mentioned before, they have breached the Distur. Any security or armed personnel who actually understood this Distur should arrest these two people. They need to be arrested. And they need to go and answer us in the court of law. This is a legal, formal ground that we have in our country. And if you let them go and operate illegal like the way they are doing it, then honestly, until this country will now be either oceans or it's going to be a dry desert. This is what we're going to expect in the next 2 or 3 or 5 years, because they are not sitting down discussing issues that we expect them to discuss.
Right.
And thank you.
Thank you, Choldi. Let us give the chance to welcome Walke Mabor. Long time no see. How are you doing? And Jonathan Young and Dr. Waladjan. This chance is going to Waladjan. Go ahead with your 5 minutes. And then the next one would be Walke.
Thank you very much, Madid. Walmabor and Tungjang. The audience who are, I greet all of you. I think this thing here, they need to be critically analyzed because, people of South Sudan, they need to understand something here. So if you allow me to maybe more than 5 minutes would be good.
Okay, I will give you 10 minutes, Waladjan. Don't go up beyond 10 minutes.
Yeah, first of all, the thing that you see that they are talking about, the videos that you have seen, those videos, they are they are not the reason why the regime extended. There is more than that, and this is what I'm going to talk about. Most of you heard some of the lies that you can hear. Maybe there is a lack of funding. There is maybe enough time. People voted that they need some time to really agree on some factors. All this one, they are not true. Even logically, if you try to go, there's a lot of money right now in the individual account, and there's a lot of money even for those programs. And there have been enough time for them to work and actually to implement the agreement, but they did not do it intentionally because they didn't want to go for election. Both parties, the IO and IG, they did not want to go election. But now, what brought this extension? Most of you have seen Kiir before the extension was traveling maybe to China, was traveling to South Africa. And then I hope most of you also read the so-called triangle position. That's the Western country, including US and European country. There is the reason this whole thing is extended is a pressure, actually. What they don't tell you on the media, there is a pressure from the China. The China has a pressure because China is bringing a lot of money right now. There is billion and billion dollar is actually coming to our country from China. This is what you don't know. And this money is coming, and they don't want it to invest this money because of politics. China don't work that way. Most of the communist country, they actually don't work with people. They work with regime, individual family. And that's why you see they put the money right now, and they put many programs to come in our country. So it's form of loan. So South Sudan is actually taking a huge amount of loan right now than ever they took. And this kind of loan, this kind of program, the West, they don't like that. And that is what you need to understand. That's why you see the reaction. If you see what the ambassador was saying, he say they quote the proverb, action speak louder than word. We'll say that. You can go and Google it out, check yourself. Now, why is because the West are not happy about what is going on. Now the West are actually stopping any loan for people of South Sudan. And the China is pouring in a lot of money as we are talking. This is why the extension is done. A lot of people, even these people who work in the government, don't understand it. That's why I told you it need expert actually to come here and analyze it for our people so that at least they know what is going on in Juba. Now, you see, there are programs. You can go to what we call
Radio Tamazat, and you will see some of the program that is China coming with. First of all, they are saying they will be actually bringing the government of China into our country. They will be training the soldiers like how it happened in China. And a lot of things. They are going to bring in 2,000 professional Chinese to come and actually follow the law. And these are the program that has been set up. These things, they should be clear to people of South Sudan, because those are some of the loans that your grand even children will remain paying for. And it's going to make the country poor. Because some of these people, they will steal that money, you will not know it. Now, there is a lot of money that was stolen, including oil money, the grant that were given in previously. Those money that were actually stolen outside the country, the West has actually frozen those money now. So nothing going in, and they close it, and then they are working on it to recover any kind of money that they have given to you. So this kind of conflict now, the tension is going to be, it look like a Cold War in our country, and it's going to happen. It's like a Cold War between the West and the East, and it's going to happen in South Sudan. Okay, now if you look at this, first of all, what is going to happen is that our people are going to be hurt in this situation, because you see, first they don't understand the actual thing, and if they don't understand, so this politician will play you, and if they play you, the suffering will increase, and nobody will care whether you die in million or what, because you see now, as the West take the position right now, if there's a lot of people going to die from flooding, or maybe displacement, or being more refugees, or whether it's diseases, they are going to frozen any money that will be found with any associated with a politician or with South Sudan, because they have their money also, and then they will make sure that no money go to your country. Then why they do that? Because they want you to fix your problem. They wanted you to see if you don't like why this suffering is, then you have to do something about it. That is the position of West now. They are very clear. And why do you think they are angry because of what South Sudan? No, it's because they don't like why China is coming. This is what is the reality going on the ground. Now, the other thing is that, so if these things are going to increase, suffering is going to increase, IDPs, a lot of death is going to happen, and then there will be division. The regime you're going to be divided soon. And this division we can see right now, those who don't want election and those who want the election to happen. And then there will be, actually Kiir in this situation is going to be prepared more, because he has a strategy from China. So they're going to put his military really in a term to respond to those kind of, meaning war will be happening in the state, whether Apanal, Barakazal, or part of Equatoria, to try to make Cuba safe, and other countries are going to be at war. And this thing here it means that they actually going to fight even each other, pretending they are fighting, even when they are eating on the table together with Riek Machar in Juba. This one is something that you can see very clear is things that are going to happen. Now, we have a reaction now, clearly a reaction from even within the regime, and there's a reaction from the opposition themselves. The regime, they are saying, if we go to Madid, you have your United, your mic is open.
Oh.
So you have your mic open. We're going to have a reaction from the regime itself, that Salva Kiir regime in the SPLMIG is going to be divided into two. Those who are saying that it is better that we go for election so that some of them can get opportunity to be in the government when the government can be dissolved. That one is, they are not seeing happening. And then they are reacting now. Some of them now are demanding that this kind of extension is illegal. Then we're going to have a reaction from opposition. They are saying this position is actually for here in Cuba. It does not accommodate many opposition. And then you have community who are suffering, like those who are fleeing out from flooding. those who are actually leaving because of they are fleeing because of violence. Now, these people, they will see that there's nothing that is going to be expected from this agreement because there has nothing been shown to improve any kind of implementation. Then therefore, all these people, they are going to react against this situation. And the question is, if they react, in which way are they going to react? Some of them, they don't know how to deal with a dictator. And some of them maybe don't just have a clear way of how you can really respond to this. That is why we are saying, for us, we, the people of South Sudan, first of all, we need to understanding that these people, they are actually planning to hurt you. It's actually a strategic plan. Even Riek Machar, I think, in his strategic plan to hurt most of you in the country. Many of you are going to be hurt with this one. It's not about legal thing. It's about the country is going to be backward, and they will try to protect themselves with this money from China. That can even hurt the future generation. Even look at some of the countries that take loan from China now. People are talking about they are actually taking airport, rivers, things like that. And this money are money taken by previous government that you can date it maybe 30 years, 40 years ago. So now this is what is being done in our way. But now what my concern is this: how are people going to respond in this situation? Well, there are a couple ways to respond. If our people, if the army in the I think is surely saying that okay, the army should arrest these people. Well, you cannot just arrest dictators like that. Usually, what you do is the junior officers, they can do what they call a military. Just split and surrounded the fathers, and then they can do that. That's what happened in many African countries. When they see that the dictators are greedy and they are hurting people, and people don't want to split anymore, you just do a military coup d'etat and then control the war to be just in Juba, so that it doesn't go outside Malakal or where people. No, this is one way to do it. But now, the people of South Sudan, the first thing you should do now, what we should be doing, is demanding the step down of Kir. That is the position we can be doing. Kir should be stepped down. Second thing is that all those embassies from the West organization, whether they are working for, I don't know, human rights, I don't know, gay rights or whatever, we must ask them to leave. Because you see now, if they say, okay, they are helping, they are not helping anybody in South Sudan. They are actually increasing the problem. So actually, indeed, they are supporting the dictator. If you see even what their position now is like, okay, if they don't want extension, let them leave Cuba. When they leave, that one will show that the dictator actually, many of the ways are standing with the people of South Sudan. But if they tell you now, okay, you take action and then they are working with the dictator, that is how our people are being played. Because you don't know which one is right and which one is wrong. So we would think that we will do now as people of South Sudan. Demand Kir to step down, demand all the embassies, foreign embassies, to leave Cuba. And then demand all NGOs to leave. And then now we can force Kir military actually to force him to leave power. Even before, when that thing is done, you see now, American embassy leave, European embassy leave, all the embassy, and only Chinese embassy is there, Kir will step down. Actually, what they are saying is consistent to what they are doing. And that should be the position of our people now. Otherwise, if we approach it with like, we are not sure of what is happening, then we're going to have a conflict, and we might even divide it ourselves and think and turn in another way around. So we don't want to do this time. I think, Madid, I just wanted to stop here, but this thing is too actually brown. It needs to be break down a little bit so that we know where it is coming and where it is happening. Let me leave it with this proverb here in the Nuer language. They say that you cannot actually, in the language, what does it mean is that you will never actually rub a wound with your hand. Now, this is literally what it means is that, of course, if you try to rub a wound, whether it's in part of your body, and there is a real wound and you rub it with your hand, know that it's going to hurt more and more. And what does it mean here? What I'm trying to point is that, you see, here when you are dealing with a dictator, you will never actually playing a dictator with agreement. You don't do that. You cannot do, that's not a method for how dictators you deal with this in the world. Whether round table, thing like that, or maybe extension of agreement. They don't work with dictators. Usually what work is, let me
Okay.
So I just wanted to stop here and then please move on and then I'll comment later.
Okay, thank you, Dwalarjan. Let me move very quick.
Yeah, thank you, Dwalarjan. You know, these days, Madid, are you there? Can I interject?
Yeah, I'm here, yeah.
Okay, let me interject. You know, these days, Dwalarjan, coup is not actually being supported a lot across the world. We are part of East African, they don't support coup. We are part of AU, they don't support coup. Even some of the West will not support coup. But if there are legal ground that would allow us to arrest somebody, then that could actually be more better than to allow the military to declare coup. You see? So if you look at the way they are playing, they have understood clearly that they are not legally being supported here. And that is why they are doing this trick of saying that the government is going to wait until the activation of this extension is going to start on February next year. Because they are allowing 6 months of the Electoral Commission Act to expire. These people, they clearly know that they are breaching the desturi.
In fact, the election is a process which, as part of the peace agreement, ought to be based on a permanent constitution. We also took note of the achievement and the potential benefit of the Tumeni initiative, having considered the justification for extension given by the presidency. We unanimously agreed to support the decision to extend the transitional period due to the prevailing circumstances of the country, including but not limited to the difficult socio-economic condition, lack of adequate preparation by the election constitution in the security sector. As much as election is important, peace and security are paramount for stability of the country and the region at large. The international community to continue supporting the implementation of the peace agreement within the extended period. This will not only help the country attain lasting peace and stability, but installation of democratically elected government by the people of South Sudan. Therefore, we call upon all partners nationally, regionally, and internationally to join effort in completing efforts, resource, and support in a coordinated fashion for synergy.
This decision might be shocking and disappointing for many of you, but we are in the government of Sudan and understand fully the internal challenges facing the government of South Sudan through the past 2 years. And in addition to this, we also consider the negative consequences of the war erupted in Sudan in April 2023, where we can see the severe impact on the economy of South Sudan and lack of funds due to the loss of their oil revenues from more than 100,000 barrels per day. We know the decision might not be the decision you wanted to see or to support, but we believe it's the best one among other worst decision you could imagine. This peace agreement belongs to the government and the people of South Sudan, and whatever consequence occurred due to this decision, they should be the first to be asked or commended. We, the regional and international partners, should remain supportive to the current transitional government by all means, and we should give them another chance to prove themselves right. We should continue our support for peace process in South Sudan bilaterally and through the regional and international organization, and we should continue our interaction and engagement to help the people of South Sudan in achieving their dreams of a stable and prosperous country. Saying the above, the government of Sudan, as one of the grantors of the revitalized peace agreement, hereby acknowledge the decision to extend the transitional government of the Republic of South Sudan for 24 months until February 2027, at the will of the parties of the revitalized peace agreement, and we welcome it.
The Republic of South Africa, we commend the manner with which the parties signatory to the peace agreement have conducted themselves in the process of taking the decision to postpone the elections and extend the transitional period. We witnessed high levels of political and institutional maturity, high levels of trust and political will among the parties. In our view, this communicated the unequivocal message that the South Sudanese are committed to the Africa we want, an Africa and South Sudan that is peaceful, democratic, and prosperous. We therefore call on the international community, the region, and friends of South Sudan to fully support the decision of South Sudanese. We further call on us as the international community working together with the South Sudanese to increase our contributions and double our efforts in order to increase the speed of implementation of the key provisions of the peace agreement, critical for a democratic and peaceful end of the transitional period. Therefore, pursuant to Article 8.4 of the RX, on behalf of South Africa, we give our full consent to the decision of the South Sudanese to amend the revitalized agreement on the resolution of conflict in South Sudan, to extend the transitional period and postpone the conduct of election.
Here, so you hear from the reaction from the national community, so they are disappointed as well by the extension. So thank you everyone. So I'm about to end my show now, so that you have it. So we are really disappointed. Not only the international community are disappointed, we the citizens are disappointed by this extension. So hey, so we will hope we'll see what they take. Remember, you guys, when the president, Dr. John Grant said that if we don't do the thing good for the citizen will drive us to the sea. So if the government of South Sudan keep doing that, the citizens sometimes will fed up and they will say enough is enough. So for that, I will leave you to the video for 2 years ago when Dr. Yamacha gave a speech about the extension for 2022 to 2024. And then for that, I call them.
This process. I want to thank the President for initiating this process. before he initiated this process, there was concern from South Sudanese, from the region, from the international community, because time is running out. And there was no way forward. So questions were being raised. Are we going to crash? Or are we going to get a solution? Those who met me in my office or at home, I refrain from giving a solution. But I always refer them to a document we authored in March 15th, 2022, where we outline the status of the implementation of the agreement. And we said the way forward is for parties to dialogue. This is where we stopped. Because the senior person is the president. And clearly, he knows the challenges that are facing the agreement, the implementation of the agreement. He knows them, as we also know them. But without him making the move, it would be difficult for the rest to make the move. Although we think in IO, we had made the move in March. We have said we need to dialogue so that we find a way forward. When the president presented his roadmap for democratic transition to elections on the 21st, it did not take us a long time. I remember I was the first speaker after him, after the elaborate presentation made by Dr. Martin. So after Dr. Martin, I spoke, I said, look, we have only two options. Crash by 22nd February, or we extend. And if we extend, the issue of the constitution.
Now you listen to Dr. Riak. That was 2 years ago. That was 2 years ago, 2022, when he said that if we extend the election or we crash. That same thing repeated again this year. So you have to extend or they go to square one. So you listen, that was his speech 2022. And I think that's the same repeated in 2024.
Is the one that is consuming more time. And as experts say, it takes 24 months to complete a credible constitution. And the experts are Max Planck Institute.
So Dr. Riak, so it's take 24 months to complete constitution, right? That was then, 2024. You guys have been given 2 years. So 24 months ended, but you guys failed to complete your tax, the constitution. You guys didn't do it. So you need more, another 2 years extension.
Therefore, we say this is from this activity, when we have established the NCRC, to the Constitutional Conference, and the end of the transition. You have this activity of the Constitution, you have the activity of transforming the Parliament into a Constituent Assembly, and the activity of elections. The rest of the activities fall within, including the security arrangements. That's why we came up with 24 months. Actually, the meeting finished because we are all cognizant that in the next 4 months, you cannot implement what is in this agreement. I thought they were going to talk about the percentages. 27.3% of the provisions are implemented. 31.3% of the agreement are work in progress. 41.4% is pending, not touched. So it means you have 72.7% of the agreement not implemented. You have no choice. You have to extend. Our concern was, if we extend, how do we sell it to South Sudanese? Because some people think extension is just for sake of being in power. But what choice do you have if you don't extend? If you don't extend, you go to square one. And we all know what the square one is. If you extend, then you will be accused that you want to stay in power. It's good that we are 5 parties in the agreement. If it was one party, then that one party would be accused for manipulating the situation in order to stay in power. So, but I want to say the extension is genuinely for this peace agreement to be implemented. Nothing else. Because the people of South Sudan have a right to elect their leaders. After independence, we call for a transition. Before the independence, or while we were discussing the transition, others were saying we should go for elections. But we saw it was premature to go for elections. The national institutions were not established. The cadre that is supposed to run these institutions were not there. Some of you will remember we had to establish a diaspora desk in the office of the president to attract South Sudanese that have gone to diaspora to come and help in establishing the system. Now, we have unemployment. We have the necessary cadre to run the system in South Sudan. So there would be no need of a transition. But because this agreement, the title is, I didn't pick the title, don't accuse me, but it tells you, revitalize agreement on the Republic, on the resolution of the conflict in the Republic of South Sudan. The agreement addresses the root causes of the conflict. So if you don't implement it, then the root causes of the conflict will still be pending. The reforms that are necessary for this state would still be pending. I recall in Rome, at the initiation of the peace talks in Rome, I had a discussion with Thomas Cirillo after the president left, and I remained behind to persuade him to come back. But he said, since you are committed to the agreement, go. If you implement it, you will have no reason to continue being a holdout group. I believe he kept repeating it to our delegations then went to Rome, that he has no agenda. If this peace agreement is implemented, all the solutions, the root causes of the conflict are addressed in this agreement. Now our challenge is, we are going for extension of 24 months. Will we implement it? People talk of political will. Political will. I think if we have political will, we should implement it. If we didn't have the political will, when we started implementation of this agreement, now circumstances have forced us to generate that political will. I agree with the first speaker from the civil society. When this agreement is described, difficult, complex, unimplementable, it gives you an expression of lack of political will. But if we take the challenge that we implement it, we should be able to implement it, because it's our agreement. And what is good that the president has initiated this, not coming from outside, not IGAD, not RJMAC, nor C5, not AU. We generated this will to implement it, to produce a roadmap, identifying what has been implemented, what has not been, what is in progress, and what has not been implemented, and have given ourselves the challenge to implement it in 24 months plus the remaining period of the transitional period. I think this is generation of political will. And therefore, we must move forward. This agreement cannot be implemented in a situation that the country structures don't change. The security system remains the same. It cannot implement itself. Because you need to disseminate it. You need these political parties to be active in the forefront so that the people can own it. So it needs political space. If there is no political space, you can't. At all, you can't. I think the last 30 months, I came to Juba on the 17th of February, and we formed the government on the 15th. And the SPLM-IO is there. I have not been invited to come and to go for a rally. And the reason is, people are afraid to hold political rallies. You can't transform. Political parties cannot survive if there is no political space. We took a stand as IO in Parliament when the Right Honorable Speaker made her summary of what she thought on the Political Parties Act. The IO MPs objected. And by the way, I have met them 4 times since they declared a boycott. I would call them, I share their caucus to evaluate whether there is a reason for them to go back to Parliament. But they maintain, no, they will not go back. Because if they went back with what happened in the TNLA, I should kiss this agreement goodbye. This agreement gives us a way to work, whether in the executive or in Parliament. If there are differences, there is also a way of doing it. It is not the attendance. It is the consensus that you generate in Parliament. I personally, when I was told of what happened, I wrote to the President. I repeated to all concerned, because it was the first incident. And if this first incident is left to go, the SPLM-IG and its allies has a mechanical majority. It will pass anything they want to do. But then they would forget that There is an article which is 1.14.8 that tells you in Parliament, in doing your business, you must support the agreement. You must enact legislations that support the agreement and reforms in it. People read it, they forget this is a guideline. Now, if we start now, differences from the Political Parties Act, and we don't resolve them, and Parliament continues to work as if nothing has happened, what are we saying? What is the message? Yesterday I followed the budget being tabled. Shankson described SPLAI as a giant. Okay, if the other giant is absent, what are you saying in that budget? You are not working to support the agreement. You are not working to do reforms in it. So we have challenges. Challenges in operation, in even interaction. Yakana described it as deficit of trust and confidence. Before the war, I had many friends in this room. But if somebody wants to come to my house now, he'll have to come by night. Why is that? This is because the system has not changed. You are afraid. You might be targeted. You might be accused of working with the other political parties. Mr. President, when this function was delayed, it was to resolve issues. Who is to sign? Who is to sign? SWA? Is it going to be Vice President Hussein? Is it going to be Honorable Josephine? They are one coalition. What prevents them to solve this? Is Josephine, this is a political party. I'm talking here as a share of political party. If Josephine is the chair, then she should sign. Because it's not a governmental forum. So in the end, people had to come and say, okay, the person who signed last time, even if he's not the chair, for sake of harmony, let Shankson sign. And the issue of OPP was discussed. I think if we have a good political space, these political parties will resolve these differences. They will resolve them. So political space is important. I hope, Mr. President, in your statement, you will make it. Say, Yeah, I continue saying it. Mr. President, in your statement, it would be good to guide the nation on political space so that these security organs are not targeted by political parties. Because we would want to see our national security loved by all. We would like to see our police to be the protector of all. We would like to see our army, if one is in a bus, then a civilian will say, this man dies for me. Sit, take my seat. We'd like to see that. We'd like to see these organs supporting, serving our country. But with that direction, things will continue. Obviously, Parliament has passed the security bills, or one security bill, SPDF bill or act now. The rest are still pending. I hope any of these that had been passed in the absence of IO should return to Parliament, including the political party bill, so that we do it together. Deng was talking about unity. I agree with him, unity of purpose is important. Because so that others, like Shamson, are not deterred by the unity of SPLM. Because that would mean a one monolithic political party in it. But I want you to know one thing. The Kenyan example would not work with us. Many of the SPLM are ideologues. I want to explain. Many of the SPLM, whether it is IG, IO, they are ideologue. They have a perception, a vision of what this country should be. So it is not question of power. It is question of, you have a vision, where do you want to take this country to? And therefore, some will find SPLM, whether it is SPLM IG, SPLM IO, an animal which says, okay, this is the vision. We must do it this way. But if we want to do what the Kenyans do, it's good for their system. But for us in this republic, it's different. I do remember when I was a young boy, very young indeed, in Kodok. Clement Omboro, Minister of Interior, visiting Kodok. We were students. They came with slogans. Sheikh Lam was their forerunner. Slogans about independence. I have written several slogans, but I forgot them. But the slogan of Clement Omboro I want to say it. Maybe somebody was with us in Koduk. It says, freedom with justice, we demand complete separation. We're kids. That was his slogan. We sang it, jump around about it, but it built us. Built us. Political parties are built on ideological basis. How you see the country, how it would prosper. So that is why probably there's a difficulty in unification of the SPLM, because political trends have come out of it, even probably in the real SPLM of Pagan. Political trends have come out, maybe in FDs. They're failing to join SPLM-IG. They want to be keep separate because they have a political trend. So Kenyans have their own model. We have our own model. We can build it. We can build it. It's not bad. Well, I say it's political forum. I don't want to end without mentioning, first, I read the statement made by the civil society. Maybe another group which does not go with Yakana. When I looked at the document, I saw it was fears, based on fears, based on the fact that they didn't know what is in the roadmap. They didn't see it. But they were invited yesterday. Why did they not come? To come and contribute. However, it's because there is misinformation. Because even some people came to me who are responsible. They said, are you going to reduce the number of the vice presidents? Are you going to reduce the number of ministers? But I say no. What we are doing is an extension. We're not reviewing the agreement. We're only extending it. We're giving it timelines in the metrics. If we have extended 24 months, we give new timelines for the metrics. So that no vice president, no provision is going to be touched. I believe when Dr. Martin read the document, no provision has been touched except pushing the time for 24 months. So the document I read from the civil society, that group, they didn't wait. I think now when this document is public, their fears will be assured. But they may say, but this 24 months, but do you have a choice? Do you want to go to square one? No. In it. I want to end by also, I saw a letter written by our very good friends who supported us in this struggle, in this independence, Troika, expressing concerns I think it was drafted or written from the fact that you have not seen the document. They should be encouraging issues. The issues they raised are issues that would encourage us go forward. I didn't see them issue a principle to boycott this occasion at all. And after all, we have been discussing with them. We have been clear that it is extension of the period, because even if we took it from the perspective of graduating forces, the food for the graduating of the forces may arrive today, and in Upper Nile maybe in a week time. And when you graduate them, deployment also takes time. Okay, the biggest group of the forces is not yet there, because building confidence was not an easy thing. But they have done good despite what has been happening. They maintain the peace. So we'll have in phase 2 the biggest group. Maybe we'll have to expand the number of training centers so that we do it by February 22nd, 2023, all forces would have been trained, graduated, deployed. These are concerns we have. And our good friends from Troika talked about them in their document. But they're real concerns. So I take them as encouragement. And we know the US has withdrawn their support on CTSAM and on RJMAC. All we can do is to appeal to the US again. Resume the support. If the US is paying $1 billion on humanitarian, it shouldn't go for nothing. This country should be secured, and the country should move to democratic elections in a secured situation. If we went to elections now, you have multi political parties, multi forces. Who will respect the elections? They will not. It will be chaos. But I want to end by saying, let's continue working together, the international community. We appeal to you again. Continue support to us, to the region. We appreciate the work they have done. They made us reach this point. At times when there are difficulties, they would come and give us counsel, and we move forward. Okay, this time, they only came to us as, okay, you are extending, yes. And they had the same concerns like we had. Will the people accept the extension? Will the international community continue support with the extension? But I think now that the roadmap for democratic transition, peaceful and democratic transition, is exposed to all of us, we should say we support it. By this, I want to end my statement. Thank you very much.
Yep, there you have it, guys. You heard it from your leaders. So I will stop here. You hear from them. So these people, they will not complete the peace agreement that they signed 6 years ago. So the only solution here I see is to unification or SPLM. Let this SPLM united, SPLM, SPLIO, real SPLM, whatever SPLM, united one party. That will be the alternative. Other than that, because these people, they don't have political will. So finally, there is a statement that Honorable Dr. Martin Lewis Moro said, when we speak to you, don't look at us from the point of view as the people who are just for themselves or corrupt. Look at us, we are assigned by the Bible to lead our people this time around. And your time will come, so give us the opportunity, as the Bible say, and quote. So that is from Martin Luther and Monroe, guys. So they are claiming that the God give them the power to lead you. So, and they are chosen one. God chose them to lead you. So give them, and then God will choose you when the time is done. So that's your leader. So thank you very much for watching Lagos State Media. For those of you who have access to Clubhouse, you can go to Clubhouse and join her there. The debate is continuing Clubhouse. Join her there, and we'll continue with our discussion. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend. See you next time. God bless you.
You think that back, be on your ear, Joel, or a cheap pit on the morning. I chill away, I chill back, you churu pain now. To meet the lake, on your in a room, get the on Tiara walking you. I chill you, to meet the lake, on your in a room, get the on Tiara walking you. I chill you, to meet the lake. Toyina Pia wala rumbe, Kain Ping William. Toyina Will wala Pibor, Kain Ping William. Toyin Juba, Malatori, Ayambio, Kain Ping William. Toyin Benti wala Kwaju, Kaya wow, Kain Ping William. Toyin Malkal wala Pinyaram, Kain Ping William. Pandile Lagos State in Anyam Baiban, Pinyaram, where in Anyam Wawadia. Pandile Lagos State in Anyam Baiban, Pinyaram, where in Anyam Wawadia. In a bull wearing, in bull welcome, when a bull well jam, when a bull was fine. And you're the garden, a good young polito. I got a ding of my bog with young polito. Kubolo Makur, Kumajong Makur. I better met it, Kaganyo by Kabin of Pinom. And you're the garden, a good young polito. I got a ding of my bog with young polito. Kubolo Makur, Kumajong Makur. I better met it, Kaganyo by Kabin of Pinom. I did a jet, Abu Jajir, Abu Yellow, Abu Jajir, Abu Yellow, Abu Jajir, Bobby Jet America, Abu Jajir, Bobby Jet China, Abu Jajir, Bobby Jet London, Abu Jajir, Bobby Jet Dubai, Abu Jajir, Abu Yellow. Toyina Pia wala rumbe, Kain Ping William. Toyina Will wala Pibor, Kain Ping William.
in Juba, Malatori, hey, yo, in Ping William, in Benti, Walla Quaju, hey, wow, in Ping William, in Malkal, Walla Pinaram, in Ping William, media.
Have a good night.